Systems that take decades to build can fail in seconds. One minute, you're inside a climate-controlled boardroom. The next, a cascading blackout has turned your infrastructure into an expensive glass box. Most professionals see this coming. We read the risk assessments, we know the global supply chain is stretched thin, and we know the local power grid is struggling under structural pressure. But there is a dangerous gap between accurately describing a risk and actually being protected from it. We see this in organizations every day. One node is accurately labeled as high risk, yet it remains exposed. No structural changes have been made. The other is shielded. Knowing the warning sign is there doesn't stop the impact. You can hear it in the silence that follows a strategy meeting. The moment everyone agrees that a single supplier represents a catastrophic vulnerability, but no one is given the authority to change it. This informed inaction is the most expensive state an organization can inhabit. It consumes the only window of time available for low-cost preparation, while offering a false sense of security that the problem is being managed because it's been documented. Major disruptions rarely arrive as a total surprise. They send messengers, small, manageable near misses that provide an exact map of where the system is going to break. We saw the map clearly during the last logistics delay. The abstract fragility of global transit produced this physical result: a wall of empty shelves. The reflex is to treat these events as temporary inconveniences, annoyances to be patched and forgotten. We scramble to fix the surface-level symptoms, while the underlying architectural flaw remains untouched. Organizations pay an increasing cost to recover from these small shocks, burning through reserves and operational slack without ever addressing the structural reason the shock occurred in the first place. If you treat a preview as an annoyance rather than data, you lose the chance to fix the foundation. When the full-scale crisis arrives, you simply won't have the resources left to pay for the repair. For the last 30 years, the market only had one metric: efficiency. The goal was to strip out every redundant cost, minimize inventory, and rely on the absolute speed of global delivery. That logic built a world of extreme concentration. A single massive container ship carries the continuity of thousands of businesses. Efficient until it stops. When the assumption of global stability collapsed, the rules of the game changed. Highly optimized, lean systems didn't just slow down, they became liabilities that threatened to sink the organizations they were meant to serve. In this new environment, the things we once called inefficient are suddenly the most valuable assets. Having manual backups, local supplier networks, and physical buffers are no longer waste. They are the new competitive moats. Reliability compounds. When a disruption hits, you don't just survive, you capture the market. As competitors fail, the trust and the flow of the entire system are diverted through the nodes that remain functional. Success is no longer about who can squeeze the most profit out of a stable system. It's about who can maintain continuous operational flow when that system breaks apart. It's easy to view these as forces of history, far beyond our influence. But the logic of systemic failure applies just as ruthlessly to the individual professional sitting at their desk on a Tuesday afternoon. Whether we are looking at a national grid, a global corporation, or your own desk, the principles of architecture remain the same. The same vulnerabilities that threaten a state threaten your personal ability to function. There comes a moment where you have to decide to stop outsourcing your personal safety to systems you don't control. It's a quiet shift from being a passive passenger to an active architect. This means moving away from a total reliance on centralized platforms and hierarchy. It means building your own capacity to think, act, and survive without permission from a primary system. This transition can only happen while things are still mortal. Once the crisis is in the room, the price of building your own sovereignty becomes too high to pay. There is a specific trap for the well-informed. You understand the strategy so well that you feel like you've already implemented it. But an idea is not an architecture. An untested plan is just a list of things you hope will work when the power goes out. To build a functioning system, you have to follow a specific order. If you act without a clear diagnosis, you will spend your resources hardening the wrong vulnerabilities. Before you buy a single piece of equipment, you need a brutally honest audit of your single points of failure. You have to secure your own ability to think clearly under pressure. Otherwise, your actions will be driven by the very panic you're trying to avoid. Random acts of preparation aren't enough. Without a sequenced approach, you aren't building resilience, you're just creating an expensive illusion of it. This process takes exactly 90 days. It begins with a reality-based audit, moves into protecting your decision-making, and then targets your most critical vulnerabilities. In the third month, you move beyond yourself. You identify the 6 to 12 high-trust relationships that form your immediate network, making your commitment to mutual reliability explicit before you need it. The final stage is the drill. You bring the primary systems offline yourself to find the cracks. You test the architecture while the stakes are low, so you know it actually holds when the stakes are everything. This shift is happening at every level, from nations securing their own AI infrastructure to communities building energy microgrids. This single solar panel is proof that the same autonomy is possible at the individual scale. The migration away from centralized fragility is already moving. You can build your own architecture now, in the quiet of a normal day. Or you can wait for the disruption to arrive and discover exactly what exposure feels like. The choice is yours. Cross the threshold.